actual occasions, eternal objects, the dynamic of ingression, participation, exemplification. What are we what are we really talking about? Well, we're talking about an abstract way of giving voice to our intuitions. And so whenever we attempt to do that, we should be careful that we're not leaving any important intuitions out. And while philosophers might be really good at working with the abstractions, there's a prior stage in any good and honest speculative philosophy that is collecting the intuitions. And we have to be as inclusive as possible. And often philosophers are not as good at that part. We need people from every walk of life, especially those who are not intellectual, to help us not leave any important intuitions out. I mean, there are things that we feel in our hearts, in our guts, things that spiritual intuitions that, when we try to make sense of rationally, seem irrational. Well, those are intuitions we need to include in our speculative cosmology as well somehow.
So when I'm asking, hey, why do we use this abstract word to describe, and then I proceed to give a bunch of words to try to describe that thing. And it's sort of like, okay, Roman, that thing you're trying to describe, we have to have some agreed upon term for it to be able to talk about it at a high enough level where it's like a piece in the puzzle and not just a sense realm that we descend into endless poetry about and never give a proper title, while acknowledging no title can ever be the thing. If we want to talk about it, we have to designate that realm as something. And then all the disagreements that ensue are people have slightly different meanings of these words. And I guess you have to feel your way into some level of agreement about them for anything to move forward, for there to be generative conversation. And maybe it's the slight differences in the way we're thinking about these words that end up being part of what's generative about the dialogue, because diverse meanings are acquired.
Yeah, but we could attempt to be scientific about sorting our intuitions and categorizing them, or we could be artistic about it. And if we decide to be artistic about expressing these intuitions, it's not so much about, do you agree or disagree with my expression? It's, do you appreciate it or not? Can you vibe with it or not? But it's not like an artist is presenting an argument. But I think they are trying to express a deep intuition in an abstract way. It's a different kind of abstraction. Whether any art form is a form of abstraction, though. It's just that music is. I mean, of course, it seems quite concrete because it's tapping right into your emotions, but it's also speaking to us. It's like conveying meaning to us, and it's so abstract in a sense that you can't even put it into words. But yeah, so we could express ourselves artistically about these intuitions, and then I hope we're not trying to debate with each other in our art, but we could try scientifically also to express these things. And then dialectic becomes really important, which is I try to describe something, and then someone else points out the shortcomings or the contradictions implicit in it, and then I try again to incorporate that feedback, and then they point out other shortcomings, and we sort of work our way in this zigzag pattern deeper towards the truth. And so Whitehead's putting forward this particular set of terms and categories, knowing full well and admitting, in the preface, in the first chapter, that he has failed to complete the system of philosophy. That it's an ongoing conversation, but it's not just arbitrary. I think there is some way for us to feel when our descriptions are more closely aligned with our intuitions. Yeah.